Why have social anxieties increased so dramatically in many developed countries over the last half-century, as one American psychologist's studies suggest they have? Why does the social evaluative threat seem so great? A reasonable explanation is the breakup of the settled communities of the past. People used to grow up knowing and being known by many of the same people all their lives. Although geographical mobility had been increasing for several generations, the last half-century has seen a particularly rapid rise. At the beginning of this period, it was still common for people in rural and urban areas alike never to have traveled much beyond the boundaries of their immediate city or village community. Married brothers and sisters, parents and grandparents tended to remain living nearby, and the community consisted of people who had often known each other for much of their lives. But now that so many people move from where they grew up, knowledge of neighbors tends to be superficial or non-existent. People's sense of identity used to be rooted in the community to which they belonged, in people's real knowledge of each other, but now it is lost in the facelessness of mass society. Familiar faces have been replaced by a constant flow of strangers. As a result, who we are, identity itself, is endlessly open to question. The problem is shown even in the difficulty we have in distinguishing between the concept of the esteem, in which we may or may not be held by others, and our own self-esteem. The evidence of our sensitivity to social evaluative threat, coupled with the American psychologist's evidence of long-term rises in anxiety, suggests that we may, by the standards of any previous society, have become highly self-conscious, overly concerned with how we appear to others, worried that we might come across as unattractive, boring, ignorant, or whatever, and constantly trying to manage the impressions we make. And at the core of our interactions with strangers is our concern at the social judgments and evaluations they might make. How do they rate us? Did we give a good account of ourselves? This insecurity is part of the modern psychological condition. Greater inequality between people seems to heighten their social evaluation anxieties by increasing the importance of social status. Instead of accepting each other as equals on the basis of our common humanity as we might in more equal settings, measuring each other's worth becomes more important as status differences widen. We come to see social position as a more important feature of a person's identity. Between strangers it may often be the main feature. As Ralph Waldo Emerson, the 19th-century American philosopher, said, "It is very certain that each man carries in his eye the exact indication of his rank in the immense scale of men, and we are always learning to read it." Indeed, psychological experiments suggest that we make judgments of each other's social status within the first few seconds of meeting. No wonder first impressions count, and no wonder we feel social evaluation anxieties.